Katt has never been a joke teller. Like, hey, what did the chicken say to the duck? You know, all that kind of stuff, you know, jokes. But Katt has observations.
In the same vein of maybe performances that didn't go quite well, Katt Williams recently released his Netflix special entitled World War III.
Yes.
One, did you get a chance to kind of check it out?
Yep.
Okay. People are saying that it's not his best material and they seem very dissatisfied about it. From what you saw of it, why do you think people were dissatisfied with Katt's new special?
Because they're brainwashed by his genius. See, Katt Williams is a minister and a prophet. He's beyond comedy. And what happened to a person like Katt, by him being a genius, he took people to a high, like with Priceless, Apocalypse, yeah, all that. Those were like levels. See, Katt has bars. He has levels. So what happens when the audience gets used to those bars, and when you don't fulfill, they start saying things. So Katt is a victim of his own success. He's a victim of himself. He's a victim of Katt because he took people high. So what happens when you take people high like that? When they come into the door to see you, they like this. They're waiting, and then when you don't give them that, they go. They don't give you time to do it, and then all of a sudden he ain't got it. They mad at themselves. They're mad at themselves because he set it so much of a high bar for himself. Because Katt is here. So when you don't take him here, so when you don't constantly take them here, you in bad shape, Jack, because you become almost an enemy to yourself because you're like, damn, I gotta match up now. It's like you become in competition with yourself. It's like you and you.
Do you think he's even allowed to try new material out?
You said allowed?
Yeah, because it just seems like, let's say what we saw on Netflix was him, hey, as an artist, I wanna try to do it a different way. But like you're saying, if the artist is fixated on a certain delivery, a certain way of him doing it, and he's not bringing it, it just seems like his art could be probably limited. Or is it, who's responsible in that exchange?
No, but Katt being a genius is not limited. This guy, he's gifted. So when a person is gifted, there's no limits. Only a person that don't have it is limited. When a person's not gifted, you know, like a Tuesday night open mic comic who's just doing it for the hell of it. We ain't talking about them. But a person that's gifted, they're entitled to have this.
Now, in a recent interview with Arsenio, Katt did say that he doesn't go to stand-up clubs like he did in the past to work on his material. I think his fear was other comedians seeing his stuff and like, you know, getting inspired and creating their own jokes. So that's how I interpreted what he meant by that.
Yes.
So the way that he practices jokes is probably not traditional anymore. He probably is doing it while he's on the road. He's testing out material. Do you think someone like that still needs to be rehearsing, still needs to be fine-tuning?
Oh yeah, you have to, because you're a human voice box. And I see what Katt mean though. You don't want to be on other comics because other comics do soak your shit up. What Katt should do is get a place. The best way for a Katt Williams to do is go into a place where nobody expects him to be.
Like Chappelle pops up.
It's popping up. When you pop up at places, that's the best way to learn about your craft. Just go to places. And then also too, for a person like a Katt, I went with he did that large venue in Vegas. I would have did a small comedy club, 500 people, okay? And you do your thing. Boom, you kill it. Small room. Because when you do these big, massive places, man, you got to feel like you're that one person with that one voice, and each person in that audience out of that large venue, they expect everything from you, from that one person, because he took them up here. What Katt has to do is always test your stuff out in front of people. Always. You're going to always need people and human beings. You need laughter. That's part of the art. You have to have to be you can't be in front of the mirror or in your bedroom or in your mansion, in the basement, whatever. No, you got to have people. But the beauty of it is go around people who really don't know you. There's a lot of people that still don't know Katt. You go to see this, the world is big. You go to a place unannounced, that's where you do your stuff. Yes, You go to these and then you work on your stuff. And don't worry about other comics. No, because they're not going to be there. It's going to be nothing but audience.
One of the complaints I heard about this new special was that it wasn't a lot of jokes. And from the look of things, it does seem like comedy is, I don't want to say shifting, but it's definitely being influenced by like someone like Chappelle. Chappelle is not really like a jokey type of guy. It's a lot of perspective, there's humor in there, but it's very much like a TED Talk type of energy. Do you think that's where Katt was kind of also feeling, was when you kind of, what you did see of it?
But you know what? With Katt, if you think about him and Dave, they don't tell jokes. See, they're not jokes. They tell stories. They're fantastic storytellers.
Truth too.
You know, and yeah,
It's a lot of
a
truth.
lot
It
of
kind of
truth.
slaps you.
Yeah, so I would call it really humorous takes on drama. You call it for what it is, but it's not jokes. Katt has never been a joke teller. Like, hey, what did the chicken say to the duck? You know, all that kind of stuff, jokes. But Katt has observations. TED Talk, he has stories. And don't forget, by Katt being a genius in what he does in his observations, even his talk is funny. Yeah, even his talk is funny. So there is such thing as a funny talk. And I wouldn't even call Katt a comedian because he's more than that. What Cedric said, Cedric the entertainer, I entertain. Cedric don't like being called the comedian. He's an entertainer. So I think Katt is a like Mark Twain. He's a satirist. He's a uh comedian. That gives him a limit. Like Dave Chappelle, because they're beyond. They're beyond. Yeah, so when you're beyond like that, man, and the audience doesn't give them that respect to be beyond because they want them to be a comedian. Right. Jokes, we need jokes when they're really not joke tellers. And it's amazing it's amazing that when the comedian doesn't give the people what they want, then they become something else. The comic becomes something else. Well, he really ain't that. He really ain't that. Well, he was that years ago when you enjoyed him. Now this year he ain't that. So make up your mind. So sometimes if you're not careful, the audience can mess your ass up too. That's why you got to really, in this game, you got to have a thick skin on what you do, because what you do may not please how they feel about you. So you can have a makeup about what you think is true about yourself, but then the person that's receiving you is a whole nother ball game.